que funda pa' gastar. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luces, cámara, la acción, después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile, baby, ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo pa' ti. Lo que tengo pa' ti. Sé que te va a encantar como meto yo.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and oh yeah, like always, our co-host, Gametime Bryan. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks, but here we are representing, talking pre-draft stuff. But hey, welcome back, sir. How you been?
Welcome back. What's going on, everybody? Sunday afternoon with Primetime and Gametime. No other place I'd rather be, Phil. It's interesting because my new job, my new time slot earlier is definitely better for me. But anyway, what's up, brother? How are you?
Doing well, man. A different little change of pace Sunday afternoon. This time we'd be watching football if it was during football season. But hey, what's the best time slot of any time during the week to talk football? Then it's Sunday at 1 o'clock, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was like, he texted me at like 12:40. You ready to go?
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of doing my mock draft 3.0. I'm like, well, maybe we'll go for 1 o'clock.
All right, fine.
Maybe we'll do that.
Let's do everything you want to do, Bryan. No.
Come on. I need a little bit of notice. I know I don't have much of a life, but life I do have.
Nah, he's
give me about a half hour.
Dude, Bryan's sitting around the computer waiting for somebody to come around. No, I'm messing.
Here we go with the trolling bullshit.
So
I actually hadn't done much with this new job. People are like, "Are you okay, Phil?" If I told you, I probably got a dozen. And Vinny's texting me, "Dude, you okay? Do I got to come bail you out somewhere?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine. It's just I'm up early, bright and early. Like I'm up at 4:45 in the morning, but when I come home, sometimes I crash out, then I wake up miserable, and then I
get grumpy as hell when I wake up from my naps in the afternoon. If I do fall asleep,
I got to get into the rhythm. I got to get into the rhythm working with the people that I'm now working with and managing. That is not the easiest thing, Phil. A lot of stress. People are ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. Continue, sir.
So yeah, I thought this was a nice little thing, a little change of pace. We didn't have to do it too far in the afternoon. But just talking, I've seen stuff, I've heard of things. People, Brian Schottenheimer going over to a pro day over here, and you guys were talking amazing. I did. Sometimes I'm not available in those evening times, so to be able to hear some of the stuff that you guys are talking about the next day, as I hear you guys talking, I want to chime in and jump in the conversation. I'm like, that's right, it's not live. I'm watching the recording right now, but. You guys talking some stuff, talking some facts, talking possibilities. I think everything's a possibility when it comes to the draft, especially when you get a guy like CeeDee Lamb that drops to you. How many years ago? We were not expecting that. If you did any mock drafts with CeeDee Lamb dropping to you, they'd have been like, CeeDee Lamb's not even going to be there. Don't even put it on there. Like they get insulted that you pick some. Well, he was there in the mock draft. Am I supposed to just? Am I supposed to just walk by?
Draft tonight.
Yeah, I'm just supposed to be like, well, he's not going to be there, so I'm not truly picking him. And then somebody tells me later on, you should have picked him. Like, so there's no winning.
Literally, everybody, when we do mock drafts, we don't just want to do the same one every effing time because then guess what? Odds are we're going to be wrong and shit's going to happen. It's not like we're taking guys that aren't a player of need. We have a lot of needs, and so does other teams. Most of the teams could use multiple positions.
Oh yeah.
So again. Wait till tonight at 7 o'clock when my mock draft hits live.
One thing that
you guys are gonna be like, oh really? Okay, it could happen.
Well, I mean, the possibilities of people dropping and whatever, and even us jumping in front, because like even some of my mock drafts that I've had, I've jumped in front of the Raiders to try to grab Genty as well. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that to go and do that or anything, but I know that's like, hey, let me just try this.
Place to start.
Yes. And I think
this is a good place to start, though.
So I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of jumping up, but generational talent is generational talent, and so you don't know what you're going to miss out on. Obviously, there's somebody can be picked in that place, or you just see what's available. Oh, at 44, we would have probably picked blah, 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 blah. But last year we just said, well, if we had any of those picks, we'll probably pick a running back, and we didn't do that. So it's hard to say what these Cowboys are going to do, especially with as many needs that they could possibly fill. But Brian, I mean, to you, I mean, I would. No, and I was going to say, to you, how many of them are worthy of jumping up to that top 5, anywhere between there to jump and grab?
Okay. I got a lot of crap with my last. Hey, listen, if you identify, Phil, in my opinion, and I don't know that you watch as much, but I know you watch, a lot of stuff that you like on YouTube. And I got news for you, people. You're going to find a lot of smart people on YouTube that don't live next to the star and are supposedly in the know. Again, just use your eyes and ears. Listen to what's coming out of somebody's mouth. And if they continually throw crap against the wall to see what sticks, then you know not to listen to them. But if I say, or, if I say a reliable source, all I'm saying is Dallas has fielded calls about moving up to number 4. I do not want that. But I also, Phil, have said that this draft is one of maybe 3 or 4 guaranteed you're going to get a certain level. And then after that, it's a crapshoot. And the case in point, every time I do a mock draft, the Eagles have the best mock draft out of anybody. Why? Because the player that you're going to get at 32 is basically the same player you're going to get at 12, unless it's an Ashton Denty.
No, I agree.
Going back to your point, you said, would you trade up with the Raiders? If you identify...
Or before the Raiders, right? Before the Raiders.
Well, or with the Raiders. Because if you travel up
you got to kind of...
and the Raiders, you beat Chicago.
Yeah, but at the same time, isn't Raiders the one that possibly could take Genty if you're trying to go up there and get him? So you kind of want to jump with the...
You have to offer them.
Yeah.
But all as I'm saying it's something worth exploring.
Oh, yeah,
knowing that there's only Mason Graham as a player that has some doubt of whether he can do certain things. His floor is high. His ceiling, we don't really know. You got Travis Hunter. You got Abdul Carter, who has some risk.
Yep.
We got both of the quarterbacks are a crapshoot. This is not a good quarterback draft at the top, especially. Everybody goes, Cam Ward. Cam Ward would be nowhere near the top last year. I mean, he's nowhere near Caleb Williams. None. So, in my opinion, so if you identify a player, Phil, and it's going to cost you your second-round pick, okay.
Well,
and then you get a fifth
I want to
back.
jump on that when you're talking about that as well. And I've heard you say this, and I think Brian Broaddus makes a great point about this. And he's talking about how he can't hype, and because he harps on just getting your value out of whatever. I mean, obviously that's the big thing that Cowboy fans I think have been struggling with, is that you're not getting the value out of these picks when you're trading for. Nobody can really devalue the whole Brandon Cooks or Gilmore thing. But when you come to the more recent ones where you're just kind of throwing stuff out there for Trey Lance and Mingo and those are the kind of stuff where you don't get that full value. But when he's talking about how some of these were possibly moving up may not cost you as much as it would have been in previous years. So if the Cowboys were to drop back, instead of getting a possible second where they're in a certain situation, maybe they're getting a third because of not getting as much value in this draft, which means if you're going to trade up, maybe shorten the deal a little bit, just because it's maybe not going to cost you as much. So he made that point. I do give him credit on that one, because I think that really rings a lot in the sense, even if you do trade back, how much of a value are you going to get? But Brian, I think, make a great point. You have a certain amount of people that are almost guaranteed. You can see it the way they played, the way they not necessarily the way they carry themselves or some of the decision making. Because I question, and again, I do not want this to be quoted or in that sense, but obviously Abdul Carter, we talk about his talent, but all his stuff is off the field stuff, and even his coaching staff has talked about that as well. And the uncertainty.
Not a guarantee to hit.
Yeah.
Not a guarantee to hit.
I look at Travis Hunter. Man, that guy is an athlete. He's amazing. Be able to play both sides of the ball. I don't give a shit who it is. And as much as I talk crap, that's an ability. That's an amazing ability to be able to do at a high level. Now you're the questionable stuff that's
I
happening
agree.
with the girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. I mean, when love's involved,
Again,
like, it's like,
you know how that goes.
yeah, exactly,
Remember
exactly. So I
CD
don't try to.
draft night?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Remember CD draft night?
But he's not with that one because when he talked about that one, he made it sound like she's in the
worked out
past.
fine.
Yeah. I don't think so. Let me grab
Well,
that right there.
You brought up so we brought up moving up to number 6, right? Again,
Well, I have
that's the
5. I was
latest
thinking
rumor.
5. I was thinking 5 would be the guy. I was
But I
thinking
mean,
in
I'm
front
just
of the Raiders to
responding
grab
to-
Genty or something like that.
But I'm just responding to a rumor that the Raiders and Dallas were talking. But we could go to 5. Okay, we could go to 5. Number 5 right now. I'm looking. I have the Jimmy Johnson trade chart. Number 5 pick is worth 1,700 points. So 17. I was doing 1,600, which is what the number 6 pick. But let's just say number 5. Number 5 pick is worth 1,700. Our pick is worth 1,200. So we still need to come up with
500.
500 points if we're going up
Was that
to
like
5.
Was that like a
Our
fifth?
second round pick is 460 points. So we would have to give our 12, our 44, and one of our fifths. That'll get it done. Now, if you go to number 6 and the Raiders don't want Genty, knowing that they're going to get more picks, and this is a running back heavy draft, and they are at the top of the second round, they're going to get a very good. That's what you got to understand. Maybe they don't value Genty as much as you value him, knowing that they're going to get an extra pick. Like we've been talking about. Our problem is we got more needs that we want to fill, and we can't afford to trade.
Boom.
You
agree. I agreed right there. Exactly, man. You cannot
that's the
afford to
thing.
jump up. Yes, exactly. But I mean, 500, is that a player? A player, that they could. Who do the Raiders need? Maybe we're throwing something their way.
Just talking picks. If we're just talking picks, it would be our first, obviously, swap. Our second at 44, we would need to come up with 40 points. So if you're looking at our 3 fifth round picks,
Ultra. Yeah, exactly.
Again.
You're right. You're so right.
none of them they're all in the 30s. So again, that's still not enough. So that's why I said 6 will be the highest that we could go. It's an easy. You give them your second and your first, and it's a done deal. They would actually owe you maybe a 5 if you went up with the Raiders. But again, I don't care whether we do. We're just talking about possibilities. Genty is one of a few, very slim number of players that are.
So I'm going to
absolutely-
say
and
this.
There's a big gap between the next guy.
Because I have my idea, and I kind of jump on it, and then you give me your rebuttal in the sense of what you're feeling in the sense of the first. Like when I look at the first round, I love all the possibilities. I love running back. I love Genty's gonna fall down. You know me. Early before in the beginning of the season, who you were big on? I was big on Genty before the season even began last year, and so for him to have that amazing breakout, the combine doesn't run, but you obviously. Just looking at his build, the pro days and stuff like that, just how he is, how he's shifty, breaking tackles, how many numbers he had last year just by breaking tackles. So that would be obviously a great thing. When I look at the first round, I have to go wide receiver for me. Just because to me, 3 to 4 of these guys are different than the rest. Don't get me wrong, and the rest are pretty good. They're pretty good. But there's these guys right there that you can. And if you don't get the one from the running back, boom, that's it. That's not that 4 to 5 that you could possibly get with the wide receiver. Now, it was corner. I really feel like you can get really good corner in the second if you're really trying to go that route and go Jordan Lewis and not go defensive tackles and stuff like that. So I think there's just defense. How about defense in the second? I would love to go defensive tackle, but I know the Cowboys are more leaning towards corner, and I do not blame them for that because you got some amazing talent there. But as for the first, who are you feeling? What position would you say, let's not escape from this position and let's go this way just because of this? Wide receiver as well?
I would like a wide receiver, but real quick, Solomon Jernigan, what's up? I like new people. Thank you for stopping by. Solomon says, McMillan should be Cowboys' first pick up Henderson or Judkins in a second.
See, I'm not
I don't have a problem
I don't
with
have
that.
a problem with that.
But Solomon, just remember, We got one, Kellen Stinkin' Moore, who may want Tet McMillan because they are in need of wide receivers.
Yeah, but they had to jump up in front of. Yeah, I know that, but yeah, I mean, if it's there, I would be all about it. I know people.
I'm just saying, Tet may not be there. When
people jump out and when his freshman year, I'm guarantee you saw the video of him talking about how he doesn't watch film and blah blah blah. And you saw that, right?
Who's that?
Tech McMillan.
Oh, I did not. But
no, there's a video of him. There's probably freshman year or whatever like that, and it shows him like, I don't watch film unless.
I don't watch film.
I don't watch film unless it's thing and stuff. Man, I knew so many people. I knew so many people that didn't watch film. I personally didn't truly love watching film, but that doesn't mean I didn't do it. I got hurt early in my career to where I was like, okay, I really need to watch film in order for that not to happen. So we never really had that. So to me, it's not red flag. It's, the way the NFL is really constructed, you're going to have plenty of time because you have a whole business day on Monday through Friday to be getting your film studies and all that kind of stuff done. Now that'll determine on whether he's a Hall of Famer or if he's just that guy like a Keenan Allen type of situation. But hey, what do you feel? Does that shy you away from possibly getting him?
No, not at all. If he's there, I would be fine with that. But it's funny, we get caught up in what we hear. Tet McMillan, 6'5", runs a 4.48. I heard more like a 4.5, 4.51. Still great. What concerns me with Tet is his lack of getting open, necessarily just based on running routes, which is why we circle back, Vinny Hagan. We circle back to go with a Mecca Egbuka at some point. That's less risk. He's an unbelievable competitive person. He loves the game of football, which is always a plus. And give me a guy who can run routes and get open. And he's not the fastest guy, but he's just a tick under 6'2". He's a beast. I'll take Egbuka. So if that means
Drew is asking this, and I'm gonna. Yeah. Oh, man, that's not a bad pick. I love some of these guys. But Drew asked, as a quarterback yourself, and I want you to answer as well as I give my rebuttal. As a quarterback yourself, would you truly be comfortable playing behind the Dallas O-line? Please be honest. I respect your opinion. That's what I'm saying. I love the interior of this line. I love the possibilities. Obviously, I understand everybody's question about the right guard.
There's one hole right now, Drew.
No. I say there's two holes. There's two holes right now, and it depends on how the off season happens and the preseason and training camp and all that kind of stuff. But my two holes are the tackles. The tackles are my question marks on this offensive line. And it's just everybody's just like, well, Steele, and he's going to be a back bounce year, and Garden, he just needed a whole off season. Like, that's just a lot of gun-hole bullshit. If Steele's not playing to the level, it's either get the hell out of here or we get a big, huge pay cut. Just because, if I would not feel comfortable. I would feel comfortable at least stepping up into the pocket. But as for them getting around and getting to you, I would not feel extremely comfortable, especially if they don't do something in some part of depth.
Our interior, Phil, is very, very good. Okay. Again, between BB and Tyler Smith, it's hard pressed to find you may find a handful of better center guard combinations. We're working on the right guard. Okay. We went out and addressed it free agency with a guy who played 17 games at guard. Okay. Last year. We're still looking to improve. We have Brock Hoffman that we re-signed. We don't know that he's a regular guy there. Okay. Rumor is Will Hernandez, or we could get one. We've heard about Tyler Booker. We've heard about Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yeah,
that's why. Again, you don't need to address guard. Just look at and it goes, well, it's Stoutland. Okay, well, back in the '90s, we didn't draft first round the talent as far as the O line. We coached them up. Our coaching has been subpar along the offensive line. We literally had a coach who was a coach under Tom Landry. That is a fact. The last 3 years, he was a coach with Tom Landry. He was coaching our offensive line.
He probably thought he was still coaching with Tom Landry. Is Tom around here?
You're a better communicator, is what you do. You saw a big difference when we went and got rid of the Cincinnati O-line coach that we brought in here and brought in our old offensive line guy.
Mark Colombo?
Who was it?
Mark
Mark
Colombo?
Colombo. Bingo. And then he went on to the New York Giants with Jason Garrett and got in a fight with somebody. He's a scrappy player. He's not coaching, but we have upgraded, supposedly. I'll take their word for it. People around the league have talked a lot about, wow, Dallas really invested in quality coaches, offensive line, running back, offensive court. We talked about Clayton Adams. So Dallas is invested where it counts. You see where the investment pays off when you got a Jeff Stoutland.
Oh, I definitely feel a lot better going into the coaching staff, at least.
Yeah, I believe left tackle is our weakness. Terrence Steele run blocking was an above average rate. You guys understand? We actually ran the ball pretty damn well when we were one dimensional towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have
and we stepped with one
we
running back.
were actually running at will. We were averaging a tick under 5 yards a carry. Drew, that's very good running offense. Last year, we've added 2. Now, it's not enough. I hear you, brother. It's not enough. Nobody's saying we're going to be the best running attack in the league, but we're hearing a lot of crap, Phil, about talking about running, being a better running team. The only thing we really have done, gotten better coaches.
Better coaches.
That's it.
I think you just nailed it right there. When you look at Arizona and what they have, you probably could not. We talked about how there is no all pros against that line, and yet they were doing some amazing. You can talk about the running back all day because he was breaking tackles, he was getting out there, and when he was finally getting hit, some of those were 2, 3, 4 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. So the scheme was there. And for those guys not to get any kind of credit for Pro Bowl votes, that just goes to show you some of the coaching that was involved. Again, that doesn't mean anything. You still gotta give them the personnel to be able to go forward. Josh Ball, Walesko, these are names that you're like, they don't move the needle at all in any of them. Austin Richards, all day. I'm all about that possibility. But I love the fact that he's depth. You do at least have somebody in the mix. I would like to get somebody else. I like how they do address this stuff in undrafted free agents. But obviously you can't go in there expecting to, I'm going to hit a goal, a little diamond mine over here while everybody else is over there picking the coal. It just doesn't. To go into that thinking that you're going to do that every single year, that's amazing because they do. I mean, they do at least get 1 or 2 talents from it, but to expect to get everybody, no. So trading back, I would love it. Picking up more because then you have more of a possibility of not having to outbid somebody. So, Brian, they were asking, and I want to ask you. Go ahead. Will Solomon before because I can go back to the other.
Well, he said Guyton been grinding this offseason. Again,
I hope so, man.
I just want everybody to understand.
I still like him.
Can you hear me?
No, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. I want everybody to understand, because I muted myself when my son came home.
Okay.
I want everybody to understand that he had 7 college games played. They took a shot with the kid last year out of Oklahoma, to Tyler Guyton. I keep hearing, move him to the right side. He played right in college. That's not going to make him any better. He worked all off season. He played right because a quarterback was left-handed. He was protecting his blind side. Not that he felt more comfortable playing the right tackle position. He only played 7 games in college at right tackle. Tyler Guyton is a freak. His arm length, his size, he's a massive man who's not fat. So he has unbelievable athleticism. The game needs to slow down for this man.
I would say, did you think he did terrible last year? I didn't think he did terrible last year. So, I mean, I thought the coaching staff was kind of gave up on him quickly.
Because mental, and you're right, Phil. I think they benched him towards the end of the year because he was making mental errors. Again, we go back to the Commanders, people, and Momo's not around right now, but they traded for the highest penalized offensive lineman in the league, Drew, if Drew's still here. The Commanders. Everybody's saying about Laramie Tunsil, what a great move. He was a penalty machine. He had more penalties than Tyler Guyton. He led the league, the National Football League. He contemplated retirement openly. Well, you might as well retire then if you're going to do that. So, in my mind, can they rejuvenate Laramie Tunsil, the Commanders? Yeah, probably. But again, I don't look at him as like the end-all, be-all. And I think Tyler Guyton has a lot of talent.
I think he's a step.
That fails, then yes, we have to consider moving Tyler Smith out to left tackle.
Like when I look
That's
at
what we have to
Tunsil,
consider.
I think he's a good talent. Good, they get names. They're getting names. That's a good improving. When I look at that name, it doesn't move the needle for me too much. Kind of like, they picked up Linnell Collins. You're like, oh, okay, that was a name once.
They wrote off Mekhi Becton, Drew. They wrote him off. He was a failure with the Jets. Yet he comes in and all of a sudden he gets himself a huge deal that your team couldn't re-sign him in 1 year because of what? Coaching. We got new coaching. What we don't do here is say, we can do it because of coaching, but you can't because I don't like the Cowboys and I know you suck and you can't do what we did. That's BS, Drew, and I think you know that. You don't know what he's going to do. Okay? Mekhi Becton came to the Eagles and they rejuvenated him. You're not the only team that can do that. So, keep that in mind, sir.
Yeah, when I so I have been watching a little bit more film
The history
on.
of not being good, Drew. That was his history. He was average, mid. Anyway, go ahead.
No. I mean, you say. I mean, Guyton again. I don't. I say that's our weakness thing. I mean, trust me, I've seen Chaz Green out there left tackle. I've seen some pretty bad tackles in general. But that's, again, if you're going to ask, that's just the weakness by part when you look at this whole offensive line. And it's not like you don't have people set in place. I look forward to seeing what Guyton's.
Who was our guy? Didn't we have a guy?
Of what?
Who did we have? Didn't we have an offensive line that shit the bed over and over again, like against Atlanta?
Yeah, that's Chaz Green.
We had. Chaz Green. Got you.
Yeah, that shit haunts my dreams.
Bang. Good call. Mark Hutchins.
Mark.
Afternoon from.
Yeah, I know. Afternoon,
Time,
right?
Prime.
Yeah, in the afternoon time,
good afternoon.
right? Mark, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Always. I appreciate your support, man. I put this back onto the channel. So again, thank you. And again, Mark, there's gonna be some ones where when I start doing drawings and stuff, because things are kind of opening up for me. Those are one of those names I'm gonna keep just throwing into those drawings and stuff like that, just because of the consistent support that you had prior.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some of these ones,
Solomon Page.
What's that?
Yeah, just hit his comment. Hit Solomon's latest comment.
Okay,
Way too early for a guy. He played one of the tougher positions to play. These coaches, Again, Solomon, we give the players 3 years to call them failures or not. Again, Guyton had some bright spots last year. Let's not act like
dude. He
didn't.
started out
Bill is saying.
Look how he started out the year.
He did have bright spots. But then, the team started doing stunts against him. He wasn't getting beat. And when I say freak, I'm not meaning he's a freak. I mean his arm length is stellar for a left tackle. His feet are incredible. He's like a ballerina. It's all up here in his head. And once the game slows down for him, I think he'll be okay. Maybe it'll be on the right side, like Primetime is saying. Maybe, ultimately. But they're going to give him an opportunity. And let's not forget about one, Asim Richards, who we have on our team, who's our swing tackle, who came in and did fantastic until what? He got hurt. Seemed like everybody and their mother got hurt. So, again,
oh my goodness, yeah.
Thanks to Solomon. That's a good call. Do not give up on Guyton. We don't do that here. We give them a few years because you never know. So,
yeah, I mean, we knew. I mean, we were talking rookie year after that. Mozzie possibly year 3 is going to be there. We didn't expect too much the next year. It was a step up. We saw that. This should be a lot. This should say a lot. And unfortunately, if there's not a lot here, his rookie year, not his rookie year, sorry, his contract year, he just balls out. I'm not throwing any stock into that, because obviously we all understand how a lot of these players ball out in their contract year, just because that, they're not going to pick up that option if it's not going to be a possibility there.
Right.
Right. But this is the year for me when it comes to that, especially with the defensive tackle. You got as we say, Solomon, Richards that's a good, I think, compliment to, on rushing downs, him and putting Osa in there. I'm really looking forward to that combination. But, I want a big, huge garbage dumpster. I just need something to kind of, a big anchor possibilities that we had in the past. You've seen these guys kind of leave and go other places. I mean, I could tell you Bohanna. I mean, he went somewhere else, and then all of a sudden he's kind of a name, and just some of them. What, Malik Collins? Guy didn't do shit when he was here, but then all of a sudden now he's supposedly a name, and you got to be picking up Malik Collins. So I mean. Yes, and then we had Ridgeway. Ridgeway, yeah, that was his name. And then we just try to do this balancing thing. Oh, we're gonna just throw him out there. We're not even gonna pay any attention. And then it backfired and stuff like that. So we've lost a lot of talent for a team that was struggling finding any kind of talent on the defensive line. So I really want to see how we improve there, because if you go another year and you don't address it in the draft, you really didn't do much of addressing it in the offseason. Is it going to be another weakness for us? So, I would really like to see, especially with all these people. I mean, when you looked at the defensive tackles, man, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. And, just check out the mock I do tonight. It'll air at 7 o'clock. I'll be in the chat with everybody. But, when you really get down to it, we do these mocks sometimes. Well, most of these guys are going to be gone before we see 44. So that's where you really do have to, if there's a guy like a Genty, you need to get him. Now, I believe Mark Hutchinson is on the Genty bandwagon, but there's not many guys like that. I'm not saying Genty's going to put us over the top, but the idea in the draft is to acquire talent, the best talent that you can, in being reasonable. Now, if Genty is gone now, that's going to be an interesting thing, because we got Ultra in here who's saying Will Johnson. Phil, I want to bring him up. What would you, if Genty's gone, right, and McMillan is gone, what are you looking at 12? Honestly, I'm just curious, because I haven't really talked to you about it. What are you, assuming Tet McMillan and Genty's gone, what are you doing at number 12?
Yeah, I'm either going Golden or Ibuka. Like, I love those two wide receivers.
Okay.
Ibuka, I'll probably
so you're not going to go corner?
No, I don't want to go. I don't.
In round one.
If you feel that Diggs is not going to be here, if Bland's going to be another thing, if you're trying to, it's, to me, if you get a wide receiver in this thing, he will be your number 2. He will be your number 3. Whatever it is, he's going to be out there immediately. Not to say the corner wouldn't be, but the possibility that you got two guys that you're paying like crazy, whether it's going to be Bland, whether it's going to be Diggs, and now he's your third corner. Let's be real. That's how the Jones plays, like it doesn't matter if he outplays whatever. Yeah. And, and injuries happen, so he'd be thrown into that spotlight, and everything. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to counter that argument there, because we all know the history there. But when I look at the wide receiver, you need a guy that can run some freaking routes, man. Like, and I love a guy that takes shit personal. Sorry to keep going with this, but Golden, for example, there's a guy that's talking about it, and I've said this about Golden, and you've said this about Golden, is that he does not play 4-2 on the field, right? He comes out and say he came out and said
to understand.
He came out and said, because they didn't ask me to go and play 4-2 on the field, and I'm like.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he came out and felt a little. I like it. I like it, a little thing, that. Well, you weren't breaking it away.
I'm not gonna lie, Phil, and say I've been on the Golden train forever. We saw him explode onto the scene during the national championship run that fell a little short, but everybody kept saying Isaiah Bond. Now, Isaiah Bond is dropping like a dead weight. Now, he's still a good player. He's a draftable player, Bond, but he gets injured far too much. It was Golden making play after play after play against top-notch talent. Mm-hmm. But, it hasn't been for a long time, right?
So that's why I have Ibuka above Golden, but I mean that doesn't mean that's a possibility. That's how it's going to end, because that guy could just blow up on the scene and be the all-around guy. Because I can see he's an all-around wide receiver.
And I like Will Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know much about.
I'm not big on these corners. I'm not big on these corners in the first. That's the
thing. I'd rather take less. You know what my thing, Ultra, is? It's not so much I don't like Will Johnson. I'm hearing way too many people say, well, inconsistency, and I'd rather have less value maybe in a second round. Go get you a Trey Amos or an A.Z. Thomas out of Florida State who had a horrendous pro day, supposedly, but the tape is what it is. Again, we got to go back to the football tape, and I trust the tape. The tape says Ibuka is a beast. The tape says Thomas Wanye's brother, who plays Florida State, who's a tall corner, might be better value in the second round than taking a flyer on a Will Johnson who's been up and down.
Dude, I would.
And down. Whereas I'd rather go with Buka than an Amos. And an Amos and a Thomas in the second round, or a Morrison out of Notre Dame. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, if you get some trade, if you can get some trade back value and be able to,
interesting.
because that's where I say I got these three to four positions that I would want to focus on the first three. Being able to trade back in the first, being able to trade back possibly in the second, to get a couple of more. So you can get your running back, so you can, not the running back necessarily, but the defensive tackle, maybe your quarterback that you're talking about, like that. Those little 1-2, the drop back a little bit in the first, drop back a little bit in the second. That's kind of stuff. You can still pick some amazing talent and get what you want, and still be able to pick those extra ones that everybody is loving and wanting and stuff like that. So, yeah, Solomon. I mean, Michigan players is something that we get PTSD about, right? Like, just the tape says it.
I hear you, but you brought up something, and this is. I'm not saying I don't want Genti, because I do. I've said it I love Genti, but if he's gone, assuming he's gone, and assuming Tet McMillan is gone, Solomon to the Saints, let's say, we're sitting there at 12. The perfect scenario to me would be to trade to 18 and slide down. Let's say they went golden, okay? There's not going to be a receiver taken after 12 until 18. Look at it again. I've done it. So if they're coming up for, let's say McMillan is on the board at 12, I'm still considering trading down to 18. Seattle would have to tell you they're taking McMillan. They trade up, you get 18 and 51. Okay, or 50. You get 18 and 50. You take Egbuka there at 18. You get yourself another top 50 draft pick, and now you're cooking with gas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just want my running back. There's these just ones I just want. I want running back. I want wide receiver. I want defensive tackle, but I could easily switch that defensive tackle for a corner or one of those things that you would be able to see and still feel good about some of these defensive tackles. At least being able to walk away with something, and they may not be the all-star type of thing, but I need somebody from the draft, and if you grab two, that's okay too. Mark Hutchins says, facts are facts. If you don't have a good running back, your team will not make it into the playoffs. Look at the record. There's no argument here, man. I think you definitely need Dak needs a good running back.
Good news for you. We've talked to more running backs than any position that is coming out. We have talked to 7 running backs so far, Mark Hutchinson. Now, I'm with you. I want a good one, but there's a lot of good ones. So we are getting one.
But there is value moving back. Value is getting the extra guy or two,
Ultra, we get that Dak replacement in round 2, brother. That's the value. We get to move on from Dak with maybe a Jackson Dart or Will Howard or whoever you like.
I'm just gonna say, they're gonna have to really work to piss me off in this draft, because there is a lot of guys that the combinations that I really do like, and I've heard people talk offensive line. Obviously, I don't want to go that way, but if that's the value, if there's some value there, if you're trading back and getting some value, it's hard for me to get totally pissed off with it.
Get him, Phil.
What's that?
Kid Cowboy 66 is arguing. He basically arguing. Tell Mark Hudson, well, Pacheco is an average running back. Okay, you're not Momo, Phil. So just explain what Mahomes is.
Yeah, I mean,
with probably.
That's the X factor. Like, Pacheco is not that X factor. Pacheco is a change of pace compared to the running
my neighbor,
back.
By the way, he lives 15 minutes from me.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it in the sense that he's right. I mean, you get a lot of value from some of these late guys, especially if you can use it right. If you can get some offensive linemen to kind of block for him, Emmett, those are prime examples of guys that if you can give them some space before they're even breaking the first tackle within 4 or 5 yards down the field. I get the arguments. I definitely understand it. I'm a guy that's tired of not having a running back, so I would love to have it. But again, I'm not breaking the bank to go get one. I'm not. If I'm trading back and I'm not getting that wide receiver, then trade back 2 times and let's go ahead and get Hampton. Like, oh, if you're not going to get that in the first, then let's get one of those Ohio State running backs. Let's get a DJ Harvey. What's his name? I think just the Kansas State.
RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
Oh no, DJ
Giddens. There it is. Sorry about that, man. I was mixing them up. There's some talent there, man. Yeah,
Harvey,
exactly.
RJ Giddens.
Yeah, they start to mix it in together, but there is some value there, and that's the reason why I'm not, if Genty's not there, hey, pass on it, let it go, and get your your change of pace, because let's be real, if you pick a running back in the second or third, and you can get an offensive line that can block for him, he's going to be an All-Pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
RJ
exactly.
Harvey, good. Yeah, he is good, solid. Again. All indications are that now they have met with Genty multiple times. So if he's there, I think he's the pick.
Oh, if he
I'm
was
kind
there,
of thinking that Dallas is hoping he's gone.
Yeah, I'm thinking so
they
too.
don't have to pick him.
I'm thinking so too.
I'm thinking that's how they're thinking.
Yeah.
I think they want Ultra's guy. I think they want a Will Johnson or a Michael Williams, which I would not be on board with Michael Williams. Ultra, if they take Will Johnson, then you're going to be the guy we're all going to be looking at for the next couple of years, because if he sucks, you're going to hear it.
But that is, the Will Johnson has been a big emphasis of what I've been hearing coming out of that whole camp kind of situation. But I'm not big on it. But hey, again,
I would like this philosophy.
Does that mean Bland's not going contract? So go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Well, no. I just think our philosophy, Phil, should be build beasts up the middle to help out the outside. That's why.
Talk about defense, right?
I would meet you halfway, Ultra. Go get me a stud defensive lineman. But the fact of the matter is, you can get one. I love Derek Harmon, and I love Kenny, and I love Grant out of Michigan. So
okay.
I'm good with one of those guys. But
my guy,
no,
my two guys have, and you said it. I was going to say, because you said your two guy.
I'm sorry.
I'm a big fan of Walker out of Kentucky.
Deion Walker.
Walker, yes, and I'm a big fan of Darius Alexander, and those guys. Darius Alexander, man, at the beginning, he was getting way back here, and now he's way up there, being even talked about in the first. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Okay, that like when when you're looking at a car. Well, a big ass body. It's one of those things you can't teach.
Yeah.
Like I can shove food in your mouth all day. That's not healthy. But like if you're already a big boy because your family's that way, like
do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But but if you just big bone, and you can run around and do all that kind of shit. Like I could teach you to be all that other stuff, So I like those possibilities of those guys, and you don't have to pick them in the first round in order to at least get somebody that can change a pace. Is it somebody different than what we've had in the past year? Yes, man. And does it say that's going to automatically work out? Hell no, that doesn't mean it's going to automatically work out. But I love at least the coaching staff that Bryan has brought up to coach him.
Yeah. Now they're saying Tyleek Williams.
Oh man, that was a name that keeps coming up, and I'm like, Broadus keeps bringing him up.
Well, him and Vach, which I'm not the biggest fan of Vach on the draft show, because I don't think he fits on there. He just wants to film.
His humor is good, man. His humor is funny as hell. I love some of his shit that he comes up with. His analogies are like ludicrous style.
He's great, but on that show, they're not. I don't think he's long for that show. But Tyleek Williams has got comparisons to Mozzie Smith because of he's not consistent. Well, I want no part of that. I want no part of a guy who got to beg to play football at a high level, which is why I love guys like Igbuka, because they just love to compete. But you brought it up. D-line, if we're going deep, I love Kenny Grant out of Michigan. Walter Nolan, he seems to be rising. Dallas was on top of that train, taking him at 12. But Walter Nolan has some issues, people.
He does.
He's not. His ceiling is unbelievable, but he doesn't show it every play. That is the theme of this whole draft. Most of these guys are unbelievable at times and then average at times. And all these self-centered, conceited coaches think I can bring the best. And Phil brought up Deion Walker. let's talk about Deanna Walker. 6'7", 335 pounds, and I believe he's heavier than that.
Shit,
He's
all
beast.
that. He's all that in a bag of potato chips.
And he's probably going to be there in the 3rd round. Probably.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
Because he's motor, he doesn't play every play. That's his problem.
But that's the
It's
thing
not
is you
just-
don't need him for every play. That's what you're bringing him in for, those running pipe type of plays.
I'm with you.
Yeah, and so that's why he doesn't necessarily need to. I don't saying that this is all going to work out with him or anything, but it's at least getting the guys that fit the role, that fit the down as well. You just don't have this guy that can. Okay, well maybe he doesn't have that. Oh man, and I say this, but maybe he doesn't have that athletic ability to get around somebody. At least he has the big body to stay there and anchor. But when you watch his film, he has the ability to get around. He's agile for a big dude.
Yeah, Solomon Vach is the best. I just mean on that channel,
Dude, he's
they
hilarious.
don't really want.
He just repeats a lot. He just
I
repeats a lot.
noticed they kind of like. I mean, because he tries to put them in their place, and they're like, "Well, this is DallasCowboys.com," and I'm just like, Vach is like ready to explode, saying, "We can't do that."
Yeah, he's like, I don't
Stop,
get paid
no.
by DallasCowboys.com.
Yeah, and it's like he's like, I don't work for the team.
Yeah.
It's the best, but I just mean I don't know long term. And Bryan and Vach are tight now, so it's like it's kind of odd watching it. I can see how because what's his name? Phil's friend. What's his name? The guy who hosts. What's his name? Yeah, the triplets.
Man, it's on the tip of my tongue. Hold on.
Anyway, yeah, the guy who hosts the show.
Damn it,
Guy
I
with
can't even think of his name right now.
one good eye.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it's fucked up. He ain't never joined the show. Now.
No, he ain't never. He's already Kyle Yeoman. Yeah, he's already way too big for
Kyle
our show
Yeoman.
now.
Yeah, well, Kyle Yeoman's, he was like, oh yeah, because he made the magazine, he made the Star, and you know, Vach was like cutting him up in one of his picks. It's like, whoa, wait, yeah, oh, he's a good player. You got him in the first, I got him in the back end of the 3rd. It was hysterical, and Kyle was just kind of looking at him like, yeah, come on, man. You
All right,
guys
mother.
just get on the same page, do your homework. Kyle the Pirate, there you go.
Oh my God.
Arr, Peter. Anyway, West Virginia country where Walker gives up on plays.
Yeah, he
I
does.
think
That's
that
what I'm
could
saying.
be
That's the reason why
coached
he's
West
dropping. Yeah, that's why he's dropping in those things. But
Drop
Yeah.
right till it's at what is
What?
it, a 75? Is that what we
if
got?
you're playing for Kentucky, what are you playing
Drop
for,
her.
really? What are you playing for? What are you playing for? Like, of course he's giving up on plays, man. He's a 300-something pound dude.
Yeah,
He gives up on trying to go to the restroom. Like, I'm gonna sit down for a minute, and I'm gonna go over
tired,
there. Like, I'm tired.
tired.
Like, that's a lot of dude,
76.
man.
Deion
that?
Walker at 76. If he's there at 76, Phil, just imagine. Okay, we get our receiver in the 1st round, we get our corner in the 2nd, and we
Running
get.
back. Were you able to
Deion
trade back
Walker
somewhere? You
at
get a
7.
running back and a defensive tackle. Yeah.
But now, yeah, that would be great. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
but I
I'm
say
saying.
you got to
Top
throw in that
down,
running back, otherwise you're gonna get pitchforks and fire and stuff like. How dare you? You ain't gonna run it back.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah,
you're right.
you can.
I got it. The Reaper, what's up?
Vach does.
Oh,
does
Vach
his
knows
homework.
his stuff. That's
Oh,
what
hell yeah, he does. Yeah, and I agree with him on the Malik Williams. I'm not a big fan of that whole, because he's been talking about him, and I agree with him on
Who's that?
very
Tylee?
much on the Malik Williams, the defensive
Who's that?
tackle. Was it defensive tackle or defensive end? That there was
Ohio
being
State?
no. I want to say somewhere else. Let's see. Let me look.
Okay, I'm looking at it. Let me see. You got Tyleek out of Ohio State. I know they were talking. I thought it was
I wanna say
Tyleek. but whatever.
maybe it's a defensive edge.
Oh, okay, edge. Oh,
Yeah, Malik
Oh,
Williams
yeah,
from Georgia.
Michael
Michael Williams.
That's
Sorry,
it.
I'm butchering it. Sorry about that. I
agree
looked
with
real
him on
quickly.
Michael Lee.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
not a
I
big
agree
fan.
with Michael.
I'm not a big fan as well. So when he brought that up, definitely I was like, man, I just butchering everybody.
You know who's another?
I gotta look at him.
like, well, you know who's another guy who is his tape isn't very good. That Nick Amanwari out of South Carolina, the safety who killed it at the combine. It's great that he's an athlete. It's great that he can do everything. What's not great is he's not a great safety.
Yeah, you put him
Because
in
he's
special
so
teams.
Big, he's so fast. He's so this. I guess they're trying to coach him up, but
Yeah, you put him
he's
on
raw, let's
special
put it that
teams and let him be a special teams
Yeah.
ace, right? So
I
the one
guess,
thing
but
that
not
I
in-
was
not in
one
the
guy.
top 20.
Well, one guy that I was doing some research on, and so I started getting into the linebackers a little bit more to see if I could jump into it. And I was big in the beginning with Jihad Campbell. And you heard me talking about it and stuff. And now as I get into it more and I get into his injuries and I get into all this other stuff, man, I get a lot of red flags now that going across there. And I know Alabama, a lot of Alabama linebackers are like that. But tell me, what do you think about him and what are those red flags, man?
Jihad Campbell has had shoulder surgery. So for a linebacker, that's not good. He's the best linebacker in the draft. You know, on paper. I actually like the linebacker out of South Carolina, Demetrius Knight. I like him actually better, and he can get him probably at least a round later. But Jihad Campbell and I would say, you know, obviously Jalen Walker, we got to get to him before we get out of here. But Jihad Campbell, he's a good player. He's a downhill player who misses a lot. He's not a very drop his hips and go into coverage type of guy. Jihad is a good physical player, but he's had some issues with his shoulders. And I don't know. You tell me. For a linebacker, is that good? I'm not saying he can't recover from it. We saw a guy go to Pittsburgh last year and have a great year with no ACL. Mark Holmes in and around back there and out of NC State from last year. I can't think of the guy's name. Put it in the comments if you know who I'm talking about. But Jihad, I would pass on him. That's just me. He's a good player, but I'll pick somebody else.
Yeah, because I've seen some ones where we're picking him in the first round. I'm like, nope. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing any linebackers. I'm not doing any kind of stuff like that. There's some red flag positions that you don't want to take in the first round. And again, if a player is a player and he can ball out, and he can make a game-changing, thing happen during a game, I guess, and nobody can not be picked for the first round, right? Especially with the Raiders picking kickers and stuff like that in the first round. But you look at some of this tape. I agree with you, Brian. I think a lot of people are getting focused on some of these numbers. You see some of these scouts talking about some of these numbers, bringing these guys up. You brought up safety, for example, that you look at the tape, it's just not out there. But then he's blowing charts off the water, and now his value is going up. Somebody's going to make the mistake and obviously pick it really early. And not to say that we know that he's not going to be a guy that can learn that stuff. So having a third round grade for
SMC, what's up, brother? We don't want Michael Williams, way overrated. Yeah, I don't want him either, but he is a very talented player, but not a 12. No.
Yeah, and I just feel like it was more about what was happening in the defensive schemes. There was a lot of his.
I agree with Phil, so we're good. We got to get our ducks in a row before the draft. Jacob from Master Tommy Showed just interviewed Stephen Jones today, and he said they're not done adding free agents. Well, I told you that I thought that they would after the draft.
I thought so too. That's to me.
It would be better for the free agents to wait at this point too.
You'll get more money. People a little bit more desperate because they didn't get their guy.
Yes. Look for a Will Hernandez to the Cowboys following the draft. So that's what I like. Shamar Stewart, interesting name, Ultra. This dude is a combine warrior. If they can get him,
very high. Wow,
another guy who's unbelievable. Size, strength, traits, everything. He's a beast, but he's up and down. Again, coaches think they can coach everybody. I wouldn't. I wouldn't hate that.
Well, the stats say that at least more will be. Probably more will be failures than they will be productive. But hey, that's the thing. That's the gamble of the draft. When you look at that, I have a question about this one. Just because I've seen stuff here, I've seen stuff even when I'm coming up to my mock draft. If you have some, let's say you did have some extra stuff that you were able to get some good value there, trade back. Oh, we got some really good value within the first 4 draft. In that fifth, are you at any point are you feeling tight end? Because I've seen some of these guys. Are you feeling tight end? You think it's it's needed?
I don't see us taking Warren. I don't see us taking Loveland. They love Mason Taylor. They went to his workout. My problem is Mason Taylor has to be taken at 44. That's how you're going to have to take him. After Mason Taylor, then you got Gunnar Helm, who's kind of one-dimensional. I like Arroyo, again, one-dimensional, no blocking. I love Arroyo out of Miami, but I don't believe he's a Cowboy type of player. Look out for a Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. That would be the first guy, and you would have to take that with your 4th-round pick, which we don't have. So, again, I don't know.
Well, with our 4th round pick, we picked Mingo.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, with our fourth round pick, we picked Mingo.
Mingo's our tight end.
Yeah. Oof.
So I would say
Okay.
probably not, but I like a few of them. But Mason Taylor being my favorite. Obviously, Warren's not. I mean, we're not getting Warren. I like Warren too. Warren is a beast. He's Jeremy
Well, I've seen some of them where they put us in the first. Again, you're doing one of these things where these mock drafts come out, Jeremiah, any of these guys, and they give us different people, and then they try to go, oh, see, I told you it was going to happen. Well, because you drafted every single person possible to the Cowboys. Like, it's just, of course you're going to hit at some point,
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Look at my draft. Look at my 24th pick. My 24th mock draft. I nailed it. Nailed it. So, yeah, you cheat like that during March Madness too? Like,
yeah, I would say this, everybody. I know Coyote's saying, please no Michigan players. I hear what you're saying, but they have some really good ones.
They got
this
good
year.
defense.
My
tackles.
favorite Michigan player is the defensive tackle. So, both defensive tackle, Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. Give me one of them, and I'll be able to sleep good for a while.
I'm okay with Grant if you trade back and get some value and then pick him again. That's probably what you're thinking.
But
yeah, like, and maybe twice.
I like
16, you drop down to 20.
They have a lot of it. I mean, I love Loveland, tight end. I just, stay tuned on where he goes. But yeah,
well,
I mean, they have a lot of players. There's a reason why they've been good, Phil. They have very talented.
Yeah, there has even been some talk that I've seen that people are like, big on some of these safeties. Maybe not something that jumps off the page in the sense of what Dallas needs. But there are been some safeties that we have talked about. We talked about the one from Georgia. What's his name? Malik Starks. And then
Malachi.
Malachi. Sorry, golly, man. I need to get a page where I can see their names because otherwise, if me trying to figure it off the top of my thing. So I apologize, Mr. Starks.
I always pull up my mock draft simulator and have it on one of my screens.
I gotta look at it, man. I gotta have it in front of me.
That way I can refer to the name.
Because there's too many of them that start to
when
film.
I first started YouTube, they get multiple screens, and it was Phil. But Phil doesn't.
And I'm not doing it because I'm broadcasting. What can I do? I give advice. I don't take my advice. Come on now. I'm like a doctor.
I have available screens with nothing going on.
Call me Dr. Phil. I give you advice. I'm not taking my own advice. Get that shit out of here.
Why?
Anyway. So yes, I love these. There's a lot of value in this draft, man. So yes, I understand, Mark. I go back, like I haven't had any time, so I go on Mark's channel the other day, and of course Mark's like, "Oh, let's go to the draft. Let's go to the draft." Right at the time that me and you were talking about our promotions at work, and we're just like, how we can't go this year, and he's like, "Please," like, and I'm like,
I feel bad, but
I do.
I'd already locked into. Yeah, I'd have nowhere to go until my first vacation is until July, and I have another vacation in August. I like to take off during the summer with the pool and everything. I said, I don't really have nothing going on until me and Phil are going to Vegas to see the Cowboys. And next thing you know, Mark's like, since when is Mark an early guy, right? He's never early. He's last minute, Mark, right?
Even if we were planning, since September or October last year, he would still be at this moment getting on top of everything about this draft. So let's be real. Because I know with you were trying to get some stuff in order.
Come on now, you know that. I told him to get DMV over his house. He'll be fine. DMV knows his shit. I mean,
Yeah, man, the Duke Blue
I
Devils.
wish I could.
I actually, on one of those ones, one of my kids asked me, "Who do you think?" In the beginning of the term, I said, "I don't know, Duke." And Duke is still in it. I was like, "Wow!" And then you got a star up in there. You would have thought I would have picked Oregon, but
the Sixers need what's his name from Duke. That's it. Like they need to get lucky in the draft lottery and get
lottery. That's what they need to do with the NFL. So there's no hanky panky at the end of the years. Do some draft lotto for the first 5.
I would like that.
That would be interesting, man. It would be a whole broadcast extra that they did. I just gave the NFL an extra.
Don't get penalized for winning that game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Wait it. That I do like that because then we would have swept the Commando. No, I'm joking.
But anyways, Brian, man, we're talking draft. We can talk draft all the time. We can talk about every single position, quarterbacks and stuff like that. But one thing I do want to say, because they are going before we get out here, is I want to talk quarterbacks. I want to talk about some of these quarterbacks because guess what? We have to get somebody from somewhere. It's got to come. We got nothing on the roster. Our backup quarterback is probably our kicker. I don't know. I don't know who's the best thrower. CeeDee Lamb was kicking some bombs the other day. That doesn't mean he's extremely accurate, but hey, that could be our backup quarterback. But right now we don't have anything on the roster. You know, I like the fact that Cooper Rush got picked up by the Ravens. That means that's not a possibility going backwards. You talk about Trey Lance going to Canadian Football League. I saw that. But yeah, Will Grier. I apologize, Will. My bad, Will, and I like Will. But going into it, yeah, exactly, man. I'm gonna get my ass beat in an alley somewhere by Will Grier. you better put my name in your motherfucking mouth.
Vinny loves him some Will Grier.
Yeah, I like Will Grier as well too.
I'm not against the man. He can carry the clipboard and the water.
I thought he was one of those guys that we dangled like Ridgeway and he got away.
I'm playing, Will. If you're watching, I'm playing.
Yeah, you're gonna whoop your ass too, man.
Those
Time brothers are gonna get their shit beat out of them. Like, let me see them, motherfucker. Hey, Will, can we get an interview? Bah! Like,
nice quality H2O.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, all right, we'll land at the 12th degree angle. Right. Yes. Well, hey.
What do you think about Jackson Dart?
I love Jackson Dart. I thought I hated that he played so freaking well. In that bowl game, man, when I saw him just balling, and I was just like, oh man, there we go. It was, because I was, again, early mock draft, you're picking him in the 5th, 6th. You're like, all right, that's probably one of them. He was Mr. What was irrelevant in some of these drafts in the beginning, and now he's up there in the 1st. And my fear about Jackson Dart is the fact that a team like the Giants will go and get a wide receiver, like let's say Hunter, right? And then in the second round are able to pick up Jackson Dart in the beginning of the second round. And that would be an amazing move by them, because that is a quarterback. That is a quarterback that can move, that can dart, that can dart that football. Let's be real. And definitely a lot more fearful than a Sanders. And I mean, obviously you don't have the run as much of the running ability, but he still has something there, man. And he's just a great talent. I would love to see him slip and somehow. But how do you I know a lot of people that would love if somehow he did slip and you were picking there at 44 and going, oh, let me grab him. And, none of us see it. Let's be real. We all see that he's going to be gone way before then. But I'm a big fan of his. I mean, he just has that poise in the pocket, and he's able to lead his team. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, and Ultra, I wouldn't be surprised by that. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
High. But there's another guy who's climbing the charts, and we're not going to address Shador and Cam Ward. We got it. But and Milroe, he can't hit the broadside of a barn, but he'll get taken.
He could be a good prospect. I mean, not to say he won't be anything, but
he's an unbelievable athlete. You can bring him in packages. I see Milroe teaming up at like a Bo Nix in Denver, and saving Bo a little bit. And bringing him in. I don't know. I don't know. But I want to talk about Will Howard. He has been killing it. He's been meeting with the Raiders. Stay tuned for my latest mock tonight at 7, where I have him going. He's been meeting with the Steelers. Will Howard had an unbelievable pro day. You're starting to realize how he's not just a part of a good team. He's very, very good.
Very talented. Just had a lot of Will Howard. I think he's one of those guys that, there are people that are products of the success of their teammates. But then there's guys that are just straight up as talented as their teammates. And as much as they compliment him, he compliments them. He compliments everybody on that Ohio State team. Let's be real. There's some times where you question some of the stuff that is decision making. But when the line broke down, he wasn't afraid to use his feet. Now, obviously, traumatizing stuff changes quarterbacks and getting hit and breaking legs and ankles and all that kind of stuff changes people's habits. But when you see some of the decision making that he's done towards the end of the year, man, he knew when to get out of the pocket. He knew when to get the ball out of his hands. He knew it just all changed within the first part of the football season. So you like to see what your quarterback can do and mature. So I like it. I think he can make the throws. It's a little bit stiff sometimes that it looks like, but it's not slow. It's not anything. It's great decision making. He's placing the ball correctly in the right spot. I think with coaching, he can perfect it a little bit more. But he's a good talent. I mean, I don't think he's being recognized enough, and that's not a bad thing for maybe a Cowboy fan, or some of these ones that are trying to get a quarterback later on in the draft where he could possibly slip.
Yeah. I like the kid. I do. So I think he's gonna go high.
Good.
Stay tuned. He may go higher than Dart, but that just who knows. There's two more guys I want to ask
right,
you before
Cal.
we get out of here. Quinn Ewers, he is starting to supposedly he had a bad.
Yeah,
pro
I
day.
saw it. He overthrowing people. Just not. Sometimes quarterbacks just have those type of days too. Don't get me wrong. Those
Yeah,
are.
Please tell the people it's not as easy as everybody.
No, man. There's times where I went to go back to pass. I went to throw it, and it would skip the grass. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it didn't come out the arm right, or you're trying a little bit too hard. You're trying to judge the ball a little bit. Now I'm trying to really be accurate instead of just letting it sling. It's just some of the times you're in your own head, and that's where the inaccuracy comes. Yeah, you just jump back, boom, 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 just fling it. Like have fun with it. But that wasn't it. There was the stress was there, and this is the part that we were talking about with Ewers was at the end of the year, the stress is there. I need you to throw this ball now. And it wasn't there. The inaccuracy. These are the things that we're questioning. Now, doesn't mean that can't change once you get some preseason games, some stuff like that. But you question when the lights are on the brightest, the moments when you want knows millions and billions of people are watching. That's the stuff that I question with him. And as much as I like some of his game tape prior, that's the most recent stuff that is honestly bringing his value down, and those are the stuff that you're going to question.
Good for me because I don't want him in the top 2 rounds. So,
no,
again, if we can trade, this is how I see. I've gotten actually more excited about Quinn Ewers over the last month. I've just really looking at his history. He was a #1 prospect coming out of high school. Ewers. Where did he go to college first? He transferred to Texas, did he not?
Oh, yeah. I think he was somewhere else prior to that, but I'm not positive on that one.
Maybe. He might have been Ohio State. Put in the comments. But I know he came to Texas. If anybody doesn't know, the University of Texas, there's a lot of pressure to play there. Clemente knows.
Well, it's in general Texas, right? Texas. Yeah.
But, I mean, Texas is huge. And, the hook 'em and all that. I mean, like, Ewers is he's impressing people with the knowledge of the game. I would like to see Ewers go to a team and not have to be the guy, which he's not going to be. He could learn behind Dak for a year or so, at least not be in the game for a year or so, or maybe 2 games until Dak tears his hammy off the bone. I don't want that, but I'm just saying, ideally, have him who's unbelievably talented guy, Phil. Ever since he was born, he's been a talented kid. He's been on all-star teams. He's the guy. He hasn't lived up to it in college. Now he's going to come into a situation in the pros where he can take a deep breath, learn the offense, not have this pressure, the weight of the world to save a university, try and get back, then back to the promised land and win a national championship. Now it's a lot easier. I like having him in the 3rd round. I will be okay with the Quinn Ewers. And you said, I guess you're on board with it, but I don't know. I like Quinn. I'm rooting for the kid.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him as well.
And another thing, he's very close to one of the Joneses he went to school with. So
I know there's interest there.
Yeah, and there's one more guy I want to ask, just because it's Phil's alma mater. He's been linked to the Cowboys later. Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. I know you. I think I know where
Doug
you're going with
Flutie.
this. What do you think?
I'm not into Flutie Flakes. I need some kind of protein in there.
5'11", about 200 pounds.
I wasn't big on. I got to give him credit. I mean, the dude, he commands the offense. He was doing stuff. He was leading that team. Should that team have been in some of these games? I questioned some of the stuff when he needed to really put up some numbers. Like early in the year, I think, I didn't expect him to keep going. Okay, this drive is not going to go, and then he would put a drive together and get a touchdown. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But eventually, I felt like this was going to end at some point, and that's what you saw in the playoffs. You got into a point where you needed to do this stuff, and his team didn't come in, didn't really kind of put it together. So I'm not going to bash on him in the sense of his leadership and everything. But he doesn't.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's your third string emergency quarterback kind of situation. Maybe even a possible Tyson Hill.
Third string. Okay.
I'm not a big Gabriel fan. But I mean, who's he playing backup for that he's gonna not get beat out? Like, let's be real. I mean, a lot of times it's heights. You know, you're not in Oregon anymore, man. It's just these are some big ass guys. Yeah, you know, maybe. You know, that's probably actually pretty accurate. I guess that's actually not too bad.
Poor man's bake. I guess there's worse things in the world to be. I'm a mailman. So, you know, Dylan Gabriel. Shout out to you, brother.
He'll get his chance. He'll get his chance. That's what I'm saying. I don't question his heart and some of that stuff. It's just there's some other stuff, you know, tangibles that I've never been behind, and that's the reason why let's be real. I'm an Oregon guy, but I did not have that feeling that we were going to make it to the national title. Even when we were kicking ass and we beat Ohio State, I was like, well, no, I feel like we're going to come back and somebody's going to beat us. And I said this exactly to Bryan, you know, and so it wasn't very surprising when it did happen.
No, you did say that.
Yeah, so
we just like breaking yours.
No, you have to. Especially, that was probably our closest that we had, other than the year that Ezekiel Elliott ran all over our defense. But Bryan, man, as we talk about this draft, you've seen different scenarios, different people. Oh, the Giants possibly moving out. Oh, the Patriots possibly moving out. Even smoke screens. Oh, Titans. Oh, we really like Cam Ward. If you want to come up here and pick him, you're really gonna have to compete. Yeah, go get him, man. I don't give a shit. Go ask him on a date. I don't care. It's just like they're making it more enticing. It's just. It seems like this new Snow White movie more. Nobody wants to go and get that. Like, it's just like, we're good, we'll wait. Yeah. And so that's why when you hear some of these guys like Kid Cowboy, he's bringing up the fact that he believes that a guy like Howard is better than Sanders. And I can see that argument. Especially when you took at college tape. He talks about and he brags about how, I took two teams that we weren't really winning, and we became winning seasons. And did you? Was that Sanders? Was that Deion Sanders more culture and people wanting to join and doing that stuff? I can't give him all that credit.
$54 million Deion Sanders. But that's what that is. $54 million.
Yeah. So when you come to that, it's going to be interesting what these teams value these quarterbacks at. With Ultra saying that Dart could possibly be in the top 10. Now, if you saw a guy like Ward go. And then you saw Dart go early. Would that surprise you?
Dart
before Sanders?
Yeah. I mean, they were rumored him going to the Jets. It would surprise me if there was more than two taken in the top 10. I think it's going to be the two. The question is, from that gauntlet of Steelers. Steelers, I think, is going to take one. Who will it be? Will it be Dart? Will it be Howard? That'll be interesting. But either way, they don't get out. I mean, whoever doesn't go, it would be interesting if Dart goes to the Jets and then Howard goes to the Steelers and there's 4 taken in the first round. We always say, Phil, that this is a draft where there's not a lot of difference between players. Why not take a shot?
Ugh.
That's why. So we'll see. I would say 2 in the top 10, though, if I had to guess.
I mean, I can definitely
concerned about. Go ahead. Like, when's Milroe going? Who thinks they can make him accurate, or at least accurate enough to play?
Maybe the Browns or some shit like that.
Maybe the Browns. At the top
maybe Browns later on if they miss out on their guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly. There's a lot of ways. The Browns have a lot of picks, so they can get
move around,
knowing they got massaging Watson coming back.
Yeah, well, like that guy was saying, we're picking up Dak Prescott. It's like, I saw that kind of whole headline. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe Cleveland called, hey, we're interested in Dak, and then we're like, well, no trade. We're not interested. And then I think that's as far as it went. So it's kind of people jumping on that a little bit, kind of harping, giving them crap about, just these content creators obviously are trying to come up with something. When it comes to this draft, I think this is the perfect example. We don't know how it's going to turn out, man. We have our guesses. Some of the, I think Vach and them gave a good example of how these teams or whatever may have somebody in the first, but he has somebody in the third. So the value of where people are going to be picked, that's where I'm interested the most. I think that's what, as I get invested in there, seeing how players are playing, how I would rate them, seeing how actual teams eventually pick them is some of the most fascinating stuff, just because you wouldn't have picked like back previous years. I mean, we had a chance at T.J. Watt, and look at what we picked at Taco Charlton,
Right.
and see how that ended up. So you don't know where you're going to get that value, especially when you get guys like Bland and everything like that, where you got them in the later rounds. I'm interested to see who we got. I mean, I know in the past couple of years, I feel like McCarthy and them has kind of taken the reins of some of this draft a little bit more, and so I'm interested to see this year. I feel like the coaching staff is a little bit more knowledgeable. Is that the right word? They just seem like their football knowledge, and where McCarthy was like, well, the analytics tell me to do this in the first round. Like, what the hell? Really? You're going by my psychic told me to tell, like, what the hell are you going by, man? Like, I want a football mind back there. How many rookie head coaches is there, Phil? Ooh, man, it was in like 5 or 6, right? Because there was like you got Ben Johnson. Well, I mean, you got Ben Johnson. You got some guys like Aaron Glenn. Is that his first? Yeah, his first head coaching job, right? Who ended up going with the Jets? You got I would say about 4 or 5 of them, right? Because even Shoddy, I mean, Shoddy's been in the league for 35 or so years, and he's a rookie head coach, right? So,
yeah.
So there's a lot. So, and it's who's on the hot seat as well, too, man. Like the Giants head coach, I think he keeps sneaking through there. And if he gets another bad season, I think that's going to be it for the Giants head coach. But there are some other ones where I'm interested to see what happens in Seattle, for example, or the Raiders, where they get Pete Carroll. That one I did not see at all. The Pete Carroll move to the Raiders. That one surprised the shit out of me, because I thought for sure they were going to get Ben Johnson. I thought again that McCarthy was going to go to Chicago. So I don't know if you've seen anything on Ben Johnson and him in Chicago, but he looks already older. It looks like it's already stressing him the hell out. So
Really? Well,
yes.
That's what happens when you're an NFL head coach, man.
Yeah, Giants should have fired him like 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, Brian, I mean, we could go on afternoon, but really, I mean, I don't know where else you want to go in the sense of this draft, because we could talk about every single one of these candidates, but, you know.
Each week brings new things, so we shall see. It's been kind of quiet here, but this was a good one. I think we covered a lot of ground, and what I'm thinking, what you're thinking, what the Cowboys we think they're thinking.
Yeah.
We're not going to know until another 25 days, so but I can't wait.
So close. Yeah, I like that. I like that at least within a month, time frame. So anyways, Brian, I appreciate you coming through. At some point, I think we might just jump on here, do some mock drafts as well. And just so we can kind of, I want things to change a little bit in the sense of some of these, how they have these guys rated, just because, some of this stuff is pretty inaccurate. I've had some ones where I'm getting some of these guys in the later rounds where I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. They're not going to be here later on. And I end up becoming one of those guys. Well, I'm not picking him because he's not going to be there. Like, I can't do that, right? Like, you don't know who's going to fall. Some of these medicals start coming out. I think that surprised you as well, too. People start dropping that you wouldn't have expected to drop. Where does where does Campbell end up going, with his injury history, being a linebacker from Alabama as well, too. So, again, there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of still, Hernandez, yes, that's a big one. Possible free agents that are going to still be signed. But like I'm saying with Bryan, I think Bryan's hits the nail on the head when he says that it's probably going to be something more towards after the draft than anything before it. I wouldn't mind a Will Hernandez being drafted prior, though.
Yeah, I did see that ultra just now, looking at it, but I'll be surprised if it's before the draft, and if it is, then it's going to be one of those minimal deals that won't mess with the compensation.
Yeah.
And they may be able to get Will Hernandez on that minimal deal. I was just thinking maybe he'll get $6 million, something like that, $5 million, and it'll be after the draft. But if they can do it before, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, that's why I think Vinny says as well too. Don't want to lose the comp pick, so that's where some of those ones might be coming later. Yeah. Again, I think it says it as well too. It's going to be wise for the free agents to wait as well, because more teams will become desperate as they're not filling in those roles, or if they do got one, they got a question mark on some of that because they drafted them later on in the 5th to the 7th round. So I'm interested in the draft, man. Here we go, Brian. I appreciate you coming through, but one thing I appreciate everybody not forgetting to do. Ring that bell,
everybody.
All right, man. You guys take care.
ese gato se va. Sáquenme la botella que funda para gastarle. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luce cámara, la acción después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile, baby. Ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo para ti, lo que tengo para ti. Sé que te va a encantar como meto yo.
Party pooper.